On this video, I'm going to show you how to use the player mask, and in particular how to use the player mask in a special way so that you can publish a playlist and to use advertisement within this playlist so that you can alternate between showing the content that will be published to the player and showing ads on top of that content. So just before we go there, let me explain to you what is the player mask. For doing this, I have prepared this simple, this is just an image. Imagine that this is what it's showing on your player right now. Well, it's just a weather app, but it could be all the content that is showing there. So the idea of the player mask I have added into my clipboard here is that you can add something that will overlay the content of your player all the time. So imagine I would like to have this little clock here, and this will be on top of all the contents that I have. The player mask is actually a campaign, so you can use, of course, the different zones, the different regions, screen zones within your campaign. So the mask can be set to either a small region. You could have that as two different regions. So let's say I have an element here, another element there, or I could set for something that the mask could actually take over all the screen if I wanted. So let's do this with an OnSIgn so that you can understand how it works, okay? So let's go here. Let's just first create the content that we want to use as a mask. For this, I have created a quick example here, and I have a clock. This is a clock app, and I have created my sample mask. So let me remove this here. So let's go and get clock. And there I have, let me set this for, automatic duration. That's okay. I'm going to get my clock here. And well, I could have actually multiple things being set to the specific region there, okay? So this is the layout, as you can see. Actually, the region that I'll be using in drawing is only this little part here. So everything else will be transparent, which means I can see, since this is going to be on top of the content of the player, I'll be able to see what's playing under that, okay? So I'm just going to save this as it's going to be called sample mask. So save. Okay, and there we have our campaign with the mask. So everything that is black here is actually transparent, and this is where our content actually is. And now I'm going to configure the player. So the mask is a player setting. Okay, so I'm going to come here to player. So this is the player that I have connected to my account right now. Click here. I'm just going to click remove view so you can take a quick look of what is showing there. So we have actually, about 4 different elements that are being shown in the player. Right now is the flight app. Now it's the video. So let's configure the mask. Okay, settings. And then as you go down into the mask, into the player settings, you have this option here, playback mask, campaign playback mask. Just click choose, and you'll be able to see actually all the campaigns that you have on your player. I have saved this within the mask sample, so I'll just click here and select that to be my mask. So once I save, the player will start synchronizing. So let's wait a little bit so that the player synchronizes. And if I come here into remove view, so let's wait a little bit because the updates happens once the player, and there it is. I mean, when it finishes the looping the content. And now I have my content that is playing back in the player and the element that I have set as a mask on top. Just to make a quick example, as we're talking about masks, let me configure this content here to have some transparency. So let me go back into content and sample mask. I'll just change this app for the background to be actually like 50% transparent. Okay, save. Once I save, as I have changed an element that is published to my player, the synchronization will automatically happen. Actually, it was super fast. So if we go to remote view, we just need to wait for the end of the loop. But If we wait a little bit, so this will get transparent as the loop finishes. I believe this is the last content of the loop, so let's wait. I hope we don't need to wait for another full loop. But there it is. You can see that the app or the content, now it's with transparency, so the mask is just playing back on top of the regular content that is published in the player, and I can as well play with transparency. Just for you to take a look of what is published in the player. So if I come here into content in player, I can see, you know, the primary loop, my main loop, and I can see, you know, whatever it's set for a mask here. So now let's address the specific idea of having a mask that will show, let's say, an advertisement at every 45 seconds, okay? For doing that, let me go into content, and I have created this folder here with ads. This is just, you know, I have downloaded some 15-second apps. And I have as well here a little bit of a trick. And the idea, this is a transparent PNG. It's nothing but a transparent image, okay? And what I'll do is I'll create a playlist. So let's go there. Then I'm going to call this my mask playlist. You give it whatever name you want, right? So the idea is that I have a transparent image with, you know, 45 seconds. So I'll just set this to 45 seconds, apply. So this is set for 45 seconds. And then I can have, you know, my advertisement playing after that. Since I want the content to play 45 seconds transparent and then an advertisement, what I'll do is I'll create another playlist to add here with the cycling. So in spite of showing, well, I could do something like this and then, you know, do one by one, but that will be a lot of work. I think it's not the smartest way. So let me just pause this here. I'll save, let me remove this guy from here, save this one. And I'm gonna go back, you know, to content. Just a quick hint, you can always use this breadcrumb here to go exactly back to the folder you were working before. I'll create another playlist just by right-clicking here, new playlist. I'll call this add rotation. Okay, so, and then I'll have all the ads that I want, you know, into this playlist. One quick note is I could also add time restrictions, you know, to each element here. So let's say this content is only going to be it will only be showing on, you know, the next month. So I could actually add a time restriction here if I wanted, and say, for example, I want this to start, you know, August 1st through August, you know, the end of the month. I'm not going to apply this because I want just to have all this content showing right now. But the point is you can apply restrictions to any item of the play loop. And then as we want the rotation, we're going to set this to cycling, and I'm going to say that I want to show one element at a time. Okay, so I'm going to save this here. Just going to use this back to go back to our ads folder. And I'm going to go to our masks playlist that we have started creating before. So I have the 45 seconds transparent image, all good there. And then I'm going to actually now add the add rotation playlist that we have. So what's going to happen here is I have 45 seconds transparent. We're going to show one ad, and then we're going to go 45 seconds transparent. We're going to show one ad. Just for the sake of not waiting too much, I'm going to lower this to, you know, 15 seconds so that we don't have to wait too much when we send this to the player. I'm going to save this. And well, it's not like I'm going to publish. I'm going to use this to set as a mask. So what I'll do is I'll go back here into players and, you know, go into the player settings and scroll down into mask. There we go. And I'm going to choose another thing to be the mask. So before, just so you see, it was set as sample mask. This was the campaign that we used with the clock before. And now I want to select, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about one step here. So let's go back there because I have created the playlist, but I haven't created actually the campaign. And the mask, for the mask, you need to have a campaign. So what I'll do is I'll just create a new campaign. Okay, I'll make it full screen, so it's a simple full screen content. And into this content, what I'll do is I'll add this mask playlist. So let me call mask add campaign. Okay, I'm gonna save. So just the same. Now I want to set the mask add campaign as my mask, so I'll go back to players, here into settings, and as we go down here, so we had this sample campaign that was the clock. I can remove this here if I wanted, but I want to also choose the next content. So I come here into ads, and then I have my mask add campaign. Okay, just click there, confirm, and save. Okay, so once I save this, you can see the player is already synchronizing and downloading this new content. As the player is downloading, we can also remove view. So this is the old content that was shown there before. We need to wait for the end of the loop so that the player starts fresh with the new content. I think the weather is the last content in the loop, so probably in the next, as we start the next cycle, this will be with the, okay, there it is. So what is happening right now? The player is playing its content. It's playing the mask with an overlay of, remember that we have, I think it's 15 or 20 seconds that we are doing transparent. And now, as you can see, this is already an ad that has kicked in on top. Okay, so once the ad finishes, it will go back to the transparency, which will show the regular content that the player is showing behind. Okay, you can see here, this is the regular content that is playing. So if we wait again, for 15 seconds, it will kick in with another advertisement content. And of course, you can be creative on how you organize your playlist that will be used on the mask campaign. You can use this in a specific region of the screen. You can use it full screen, however you want to configure that. Okay, so another advertisement just kicked in. Okay, one thing that I think it's important, as you can see, so this is what's under. This is very important to remember. The content that you have published in the player is still playing in the background. So the mask is an overlay. So if you have a video or something with audio on your mask and something with audio on the content below, that could be a little tricky. So we recommend not using audio, or you don't use audio at all, or use audio only in your regular content, or you use audio only on your mask content, so that it doesn't get too messy. Again, it's rotating here. One question you may ask, okay, how do I configure the mask to several players? And this is actually quite easy, because we have, remember, configured the mask directly in the player setting. So one thing to remember, and this is an extremely handy thing, is that you can change the settings of a group of players. So imagine I want to apply the setting to a large group of players. I don't think I have a player group in this account, so I'm just going to create here. Let's say that this is a library. I'm going to create a group called library. And imagine, in this case, I have only one player, but I could have 100 players here in the library. No problem. Just save. What I just want to show you guys is that if I want to apply a setting to all players or to a specific player group, I can do this by coming into the account setting, and then I have this default player settings. Okay, and then I can scroll down this here, and well, I could change any setting, but I'm gonna just work on the campaign mask. So I could, for example, choose, let's get back just so that we change the simple mask, confirm, and then on the right side you have this apply button for each one of the settings that you change. So I can apply this specific setting to all my players, or in this case, to a group, specific group. I have just created this library group. Again, I just added one player there, but I could have several. So I'm gonna apply this to, to the library group and apply. Okay, the setting was applied. Just so we see this, we come back here, settings, and you see that this is going to be changing here. Okay, so pretty easy, pretty straightforward. This is how you use the player mask. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and you can use that in a pretty cool way. Okay, thank you so much.